Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Gateway Motorsports Park for the 37th event on the season. It's the final track in the first round of the NAMAR Mountain Dew Code Red Series playoffs. And after tonight's festivities, 5 drivers will be eliminated from contention for a championship. But first, heat racing. Time to find out who will start on the front row. Let's get to your starting lineup here in Heat 1. Jonathan Zorlin in row 1 with Marty Johnson. Row 2, runner-up Cole Deaver at Chicagoland. 2, the man on his right, Ryan Brommer, who got his second win of the playoffs. Row 3 is Andrew Rich and Jesse Turner. Row 4, Eli Bright and Bobo Jones. And in row 5, Hunter Braxton and Joshua Sekuli. A reminder that the playoff drivers are locked into the event, but 5 of them after tonight will not be for the rest of the race.
All right, well, the fun doesn't start until we ask our drivers a question. Are you ready? Drivers, will you please start your engine?
That's rest of the race says, plural, not the rest of the race. They're all locked in tonight. Those that get eliminated, we've seen, I think it was back at Iowa, some people had to get in on a provisional in a way. Coming in, Braxton and Fitzwater from this heat have still made every race, and Fitzwater's not in the playoffs. The Heat 2 pair is another one playoff and one non-playoff. That's Seth Cole and Alan Cavanero. We'll see if those streaks continue tonight. Green flag's out here in Heat 1. Sorlin takes the green flag first, and by the way, I'm sure many of you saw this, but Hunter Braxton got his 8th heat win of the season at Chicagoland, and perhaps Sorlin wants to answer back with tying him up again. Sorlin with 7 heat wins this year. The last time Sorlin got a heat win was back at Pukekohe during the International Tour. The last time Ford got a heat win was in Heat 1 back at Denver by Adam Flickinger. So it's been a bit for Ford. Meanwhile, for Toyota got back-to-back heats at St. Joltis in Kansas, and then another one at Road America. So Toyota, we could maybe see some performance from in Heat 2 or maybe here in Heat 1. Though the only main source of competition from Toyota in this heat is Skyke Commons. Already on the lap 3, 17-lap heat races. The main event, I believe, is around 65. It's not really a long race here tonight at Gateway. Kind of warm right now, 63 degrees. We'll have to wait and see if that temperature dips at all. But Zorlin leads, Deaver's second, Rich is third, Hunter Braxton trying to take fourth away from Eli Bright. As you see the top line, kind of a big thing it seems in 3 and 4. We'll have to wait and see if anyone is good enough to make moves on the bottom. It looks like 1 and 2 is kind of a bottom line corner, as you see Turner trying to get by Marty Johnson. But Braxton, for now, stuck behind his teammate in the 88 for 4th place. As Andrew Rich tries to close up on Cole Deaver for 2nd. Zorlin looks like he's starting to pull away. Indeed, 0.2 of a second that time by. There you see our fastest laps on the board. This tire wear has not yet come in. Actually, yes, it has for those behind Zorlin. Zorlin's taking his time warming the stuff up, but Jesse Turner seemingly with the fastest race car. And Eli Bright with a dive in the middle of 3 and 4 on Andrew Rich for 3rd place. But he can't quite get it to stick, and Braxton's going to go to his outside into turn 1. That's going to open the door a little bit for Turner. Bottom 4 right now is Magora, Fitzwater, Jagger, and Cage. So Fitzwater having a bad run here in his heat. This time in 3 and 4, Bright and Turner trying to make moves. But Bright just can't get it to stick. Cole Deaver has gotten back closer to the bumper of Zorlin after a few laps. Looks like not enough grip on the bottom for these drivers. At least not in 3 and 4. As you see, Bright again is looking for the position. But right there, the top line gets the run. Bottom gets tight. Drivers had a pretty good idea this was going to happen here at this racetrack. Track position is going to be huge. So you're going to want to qualify well and then not have a bad pit stop, because it will be tough to make up that ground lost. Fitzwater up to 21st by the 54. Trying to continue the streak of making every race. Coming into tonight, he is second behind Sekuli for first out of the drivers who did not make the playoffs. He's 14 points behind Sekuli. Sekuli, also a driver in this heat, is currently running in 12th. And here's the move by Fitzwater to the inside of Martin Wild on lap 9. Unsure what the fuel window is for these drivers here in the heat race. Into turn 3, Fitzwater goes looking for 20th place. And it looks like it's somewhat feasible to make a pass on the bottom through 3 and 4 if the guy on the outside has someone in front of him. Ice will drop to the bottom, and Fitzwater will all but clear Martin Wild off of turn 2. And he does. Down the back stretch, Fitzwater into the top 20. Nanako having a bit of a struggle here in the heat race. Commons trying to take 10th. Meanwhile, Hunter Braxton trying to hold on to 5th over Jesse Turner. And Andrew Rich kind of just holding up Eli Bright at this point. Zorlin continuing to lead. Turner's going to clear Braxton for 5th. So, man, Jesse Turner on a roll here in Heat 1. 6 laps to go. See if Falloff has reached a second. And it seems that with the fall off, the bottom starts to come around a little bit. You see Bright and Turner looking for a way by the one of Rich. And yeah, you see just so much more dive. Bright really trying to work it. Can't quite get it done. Turner's going to go to his outside for 4th. I'll see, does Turner have enough grip to make it work on the top side in 1 and 2? He does on entry, but it kind of goes away in the middle to exit. It's going to open the door for Braxton. So far, no signs of anyone having to pit for fuel. Once again, Bright really throws it in on turn 4, but he gets tight, but can he hold the bottom? Meanwhile, Deaver still right behind Zorlin. Ooh, Bright just couldn't quite get there. And now Braxton looking for 5th place back from Jesse Turner. Brommer's been quiet in 7th the whole race. Johnson kind of creeping up from 8th place. Oh, and Johnson's going to pit. Is anyone else pitting? No, so Marty Johnson's the first one to pit, coming to 3 to go. So he'll take the most fuel. That might be a dangerous strategy. Johnson is locked in regardless. But interesting call. We'll have to take a look and see what he does. He started this heat in 2nd, and here we go. Yeah, more pit stops. Sorlin, Koldever, they're coming down. Coming to 2 to go. Bobo Jones, Adam Flickinger, they're going to stay out. Brian Tremblay and Donovan Cage, they all stay out. Everyone else is down pit road. Johnson's already out and gone. Let's see, do any of these 3 or 4 drivers, do any of the 4 drivers that stayed out have to pit coming to the white? Well, Bobo Jones does. Adam Flickinger, Tremblay, yep, so everyone's coming down here. Sorlin's out first. Bright hops over Koldever. There's Marty Johnson. Marty's going to gain some positions from his strategy, but I don't think he's going to get to Zorlin. So Marty will hop all the way up to 2nd. So that worked out well for Marty. This pit road really makes you slam on the brakes if you're behind someone. But there's Zorlin. I think Zorlin's got this in the bag. White flag for Zorlin here in Heat 1. And yes, indeed, he is well clear of Bobo Jones. Jones was just inside the top 10. It looks like he's going to come out in front of Marty Johnson. So they do gain some positions. But as soon as Braxton took the lead for most heat wins in the season, Sorlin was like, hold up. We got to stay tied, man. And Jonathan Zorlin will win his 8th heat race of the season. And that ties that feud right back up. So Jonathan Zorlin will start on the front row for the first time since the International Tour. We'll see if he can break Chevy's winning streak that is now up to 13 races. Official results missing the race: Martin Wild, Slade Jagger, Quinton Moore, and Baco Magor. You see Fitzwater 20th place, barely keeps the streak alive for the 2nd race in a row. And with that, I'll see you all for Heat 2. Welcome back to Gateway Motorsports Park. We're getting ready for Heat 2. And in fitting fashion, as Jonathan Zorlin and his teammate that you see right here, Johnny Gardner, are running the same paint scheme for, they did it at Chicagoland and they're doing it tonight too at Gateway. And in fitting fashion, Johnny Gardner grabs the pole position for Heat 2. Can the Go Bowling cars sweep the heat races here at Gateway? And we'll have a Ford front row for, I think, would be the first time all season. I'll have to double check that after we go through the starting lineup. Dale Lightning starts to the outside of Gardner. Row 2's RJ Bishop and Dylan Young. And now the rest of this top 10 is quite interesting. Row 3 is Corey Riggs and Jackson King. Row 4, Wyatt Anderson and Audra Baranauskas. And in row 5 is Daniel Voiles and Alexander Rowe. So these drivers are in some pretty good positions at a track where it's difficult to pass. Samet Oskin starts 21st. He's the lowest playoff driver. Here's a command.
Y'all come say it with me. Drivers, start your engine!
And so actually, back at Atlanta, Sorlin and Tringali won heat races, and we had a Ford front row at Atlanta. But I don't know if it happened again. Let's see here. Nope, not there, not there. Nope. We only had it the one time. So yeah, we've had a Ford front row once. We've never had a Toyota front row. But all the way back at Atlanta, it happened. Can it happen again tonight at Gateway? Lightning's able to get a decent corner to where he holds on to second. Bishop will be third. And then things should get fun back here. Anderson, Voiles, King, all inside the top 10, trying to make this race. As you look at the bottom of the point standings, there's really not a lot of positions changing anymore. Everyone's pretty much gotten into their own average finishing position funk. So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting how things happen. Oh, by the way, Shane Beckett made the race through Heat 1. It'll be his 16th start of the season. Chris Wheeler's also at 15 starts. Perhaps he'll get his 16th one. Currently, he runs 24th. Gonna have to do some work if he wants to make it. Front of the field, Dale Lightning all over the bumper of Johnny Gardner. We've seen that the top side of the track is only good on the exit of turn 4. Everywhere else, it's pretty bad. If you got a good enough car, you can kind of make it stick on the bottom, but it is definitely tough to pass off turn 4. By the way, weather update, it was cloudy and the temperature had gone up a degree during qualifying, so we saw some slightly faster lap times in qualifying for this heat. But the clouds cleared once again, and the temperature went back down to 63 degrees. So, not sure if that's what we'll see for race time. But yeah, that's your weather update here on lap 4 of Heat 1. Accidental movement to helicopter camera. So Gardner continuing the lead. He's got the fastest lap time of the race. Your top 10, Gardner, Lightning, Bishop, Young, Riggs, Anderson, Voiles, King, Tringali, Baran-Oscus. That's the top 10 right now. Unbelievable. But we'll have to wait and see when tire wear comes in, because then that's when the lower funded teams really start to begin losing grip in the corners. That's when we could see some passes begin. Hudson is in 11th. There's Cavanero, who's made every race this season. So has Seth Cole, who is just outside the top 20 right now. He's trying to fight Edwin Mendez. Now, Seth Cole would still make this race and continue his streak, but it would be looked at differently, because it would be, well, he had to use a provisional to make the race. That's not a true 100% accomplishment. It's just like, it's one of those minor technicalities, but that's how it would be perceived. James Ellison's struggling back here too, so there's 3 playoff cars right here. 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So you have to move those 3 cars up. And right now, Cole Baker and Benny Watson would be out. And Katana would be right in, because Oskin is struggling back here as well. So you move the 61 down, he would be 20th. So playoff drivers struggling here tonight. Oskin is going to pass the 61 of Katano, as Mendez currently will hold off teammate Seth Cole. Remember, pit stops are going to be coming up. We saw them have to do it in Heat 1 right at the end. There were 3 groups. Johnson pit alone, coming to 3 to go, and it actually gained him a good amount of positions. And then we had a main group at 2 to go, and then a small group coming to 1 to go. if you're right at the front of the field and you pit at the one to go, you might have a pretty good shot because Bobo Jones was 9th. He pit coming to the one to go, and he came out right in front of Marty Johnson. Right now we've seen the Reza trying to get by Alexander Rowe for 13th place. Johnny Gardner continues to lead a half second over Dale Lightning at the front, as Tringali is trying to work his way around Jackson King, as King's trying to work his way around Daniel Voiles. So you see huge gap from Anderson to Corey Riggs, who's in 5th, and then another big gap back to Voiles. So these cars, you know, they are unsupported teams. I mean, King's a part of a 3-car team, but they don't get a lot of money support. So we'll have to see how Tringali approaches him. So he's going to dive to the bottom here. How much can he get grip here in the middle? He didn't really get any at all, and he's not going to be able to make it stick. So Voiles is driving away at this point solidly in 7th place. Anderson in 6th. Corey Riggs by himself in 5th. Dylan Young has gotten to the bumper of RJ Bishop for 3rd. And then Gardner leads Dale Lightning. And then this is something big to consider, because if one of these guys qualifies in the top 10, it's going to be really difficult to make moves. 6 laps to go in Heat 2. Dale Lightning starting to pull in Johnny Gardner. Ford looking for its first sweep of the heat races since Atlanta. And it would be a teammate front row at that. As mentioned, Zorlin and Tringali won the heat races back at Atlanta. And there has not been an all Ford front row since. There you see Lightning's really getting it to turn in 1 and 2. Pit strategy, though, I think is going to be huge for this racetrack tonight. So main event, watch out. They're likely to pit once, and once alone. Don't foresee any yellow flags here unless someone hits that pit wall. It's known to happen if you overshoot the entrance. But time will tell. Lightning again continuing to close in. No pit stops yet. We're coming to 3 to go. Does anyone dive it down here? It looks like it's a no. No signs of anyone wanting to come to pit road from the back. And indeed, no one pits coming to 3 to go. Fall off has reached almost 2 seconds. Let's see, is anyone going to come down at 2 to go? Yes, Johnny Gardner does, and Lightning will stay out. And if Lightning pits coming to the white, that'll be big for him. Dylan Young will stay out. It's all about gaining positions by being able to dive it in the pit road. Bishop's in. Wyatt Anderson stays out. A lot of cars staying out here in this heat. James Ellison, Edwin Mendez, they're going to stay on track. And yep, here it is coming to the white, Lightning down. Dylan Young is going to stay on the racetrack. So will Wyatt Anderson. These guys are coming in. Cole Baker stays out. So in a shocking move, Dylan Young is staying on the track. Let's take a look at the stat sheet. Dylan Young's last heat win came all the way back at Dover in the spring. And for the first time since Dover, Dylan Young's going to get a heat win. It will be his 4th heat win of the season. And he'll start on the front row tonight with Jonathan Zorlin. Dylan Young got his last race win back at Burlington. He's got a total of 3 wins on the season. In fact, he was the first to get 3 wins on the season. Looking to turn that into a 4 perhaps tonight. So Dylan Young is able to stay out another lap. And he pulls off a heat win upset from 4th place. Now the main question right here is who missed the race? Results are still unofficial. Great heat runs for Wyatt Anderson and Cole Baker, who also made it on fuel. And there it is officially. Seth Cole will finish 24th. Because of the playoffs, he makes the race, and that just kind of puts a small smudge on his perfect season of start counts. Zoe Fernandez, Chris Wheeler, Benny Watson, and Lucas Catano will be the 4 who missed the race because of Seth Cole being locked in. Catano misses out. See a lot of playoff drivers at the bottom there. Tringali 16th, Logan 17th, Baranowskis 18th, and Oskin in 19th. So tough break. It looks like Lightning would have had the heat race won potentially if Baker, Anderson, and Young had to come in. So that'll do it for Heat 2, and I will see you all for the main event.